Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Cherry Hill High School West, where today we have the live broadcast of the groundbreaking ceremonies for the new Library Media Center. I'm Noam Yalon here with Beth Goldman to bring you this afternoon's activities live in their entirety. This afternoon we'll have the official groundbreaking ceremonies right here behind me, and you might be asking, why are we having the groundbreaking ceremonies when the library is already under construction, which you can see on the other side. I don't know if they're giving you a shot of that or not now. You may ask that. Well, the reason is that they wanted to get the building of the building under construction as fast as possible so it will be ready for school next September. Involved in today's program today, Beth Goldman will tell us about the program today.
The program will begin with Joan Katz giving us the welcome. It will then be turned over to Robert Atkins, who will tell us his Better Late Than Never speech. He is currently the president of the Student Activities Organization. It will then go to Denise Raymond, who will look ahead for us. And the groundbreaking participants today are Barbara Reichterman, the president of the Board of Education, John McKeon, superintendent of the Cherry Hill Public Schools, Maria Greenwald, our mayor, and Joan Katz, the principal. We will then have the presentation of the mementos for the time capsule with our class governors, and we'll have our release of balloons and closing remarks.
Immediately following the groundbreaking ceremony, which she has just outlined for you, we will go inside to the library here at Cherry Hill. It's the present library, the one which will next year become part of the studio for the cable television, and we will have some interviews with some of the dignitaries who will be here today. So behind us will be where the ceremony takes place, and over there you can see in back of us where all the dignitaries will be seated. Right now, let's go to a pre-recorded videotape of Cherry Hill West, the first years, which will show the construction of the original Cherry Hill High School West building.
Delaware Township High School, now called Cherry Hill High School West, was built on a pumpkin field. The time is September 1956, the first day of school in the new Delaware Township High School. Here is Janet Peters, class of 1960.
To be a student at Delaware Township High School. What goes on behind these brick walls and glass enclosures? Not even the students who spend many hours in this building can answer that question. In fact, not even a camera can show all, but here follows an effort to answer the questions. How does it feel to be a student? And what goes on in a typical day in Delaware Township High School?
Notice the unpaved driveway, sometimes very, very dusty and sometimes very, very muddy. And did you notice that the school was started in the newly constructed D-wing? Those of the first days had their first taste of high school and watched all winter and into the spring while the rest of the school was being built. The school opened with 500 students in the 7th, 8th, and 9th grades. So actually, we were looking at some of the members of the first graduating class, the class of 1960. One item you will be aware of all through this documentary film. Old Glory is always flying high. This is the way it was in the fall of 1956. D Wing was finished out of necessity, just to be able to start school, but A, B, and C Wings were merely a foundation on which to build. Here is the gentleman who was the architectural overseer. He was the man who made sure that the building went up as specified. As weeks progressed, the skeleton of Delaware Township High School became evident. While studies were being pursued in D Wing, the construction of our school progressed day by day. Someday soon, the brickwork will hide the structural steel beams, which were evident for such a long, long time. The windows and doors of the main office are coming to life. Our first maintenance man, a friendly man who is well liked by the students. And here is our first woodwork shop in D3 with Mr. Ernie Mayo teaching. Believe it or not, this is D10, our first library, using cardboard boxes for shelves. Mrs. Hinch was our first librarian. We owe a debt of gratitude to Dr. Robert E. Hansen, our first principal, who pioneered the way for thousands of students to follow in the years that laid ahead. Mr. Thomas Canavo, our first assistant principal, was right there to lend a helping hand to make the first year at Delaware Township High School a success. A typical classroom of friendly, eager boys and girls who somehow realized they were making local history in the school system. Lunchtime presented no cafeteria. Brown bagging it was the order of the day, and all lunch periods were spent in your home room.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Cherry Hill High School West, here live on Cable 18 for the groundbreaking ceremonies for the new Library and Media Center, which are about to begin behind me at the podium, where you see the principal of Cherry Hill High School West, Mrs. Katz, who is preparing to begin this afternoon's ceremonies. Let's go to there now.
I think you all know that my name is Joan Katz and that I am the proud principal of Cherry Hill High School West. It is my pleasure on this very beautiful day to welcome all of you to the Cherry Hill High School West groundbreaking ceremony commemorating the construction of our new media center. I'd like to say special welcome and thanks to a number of people, especially our mayor, Mayor Greenwald, who has come here to help us celebrate, Board of Education President, Mrs. Barbara Richterman, our John McKeon, who is the Superintendent of Schools. We have a number of board members here with us today. We have Mr. James Marino. Let's see who's here. Mrs. Stothman, Mr. Molaski, Mr. Friedman, Mrs. Raffley, and some Mr. Barbell, Dr. Barbell, who is a former president, Mr. Wydra, and I think we have some former board members. I see Gary Stigler back there, and I welcome him, and Jay Halpern, who was a board member also. And I'm very happy to have all of them here help us celebrate because these people worked on the plans prior to this year. It took many years to develop these plans, and they were part of the development of the original plans. I'd also like to welcome the members of our central administrative staff, many of whom have worked hard in helping us to get this together. We have here also our home and school president, Mrs. Betty Foley, who's dressed in purple and white, former president, Mrs. Irene Burke. So we're happy to have you. Thank you very much for coming. I'd like to welcome our administrative staff. Unfortunately, Mr. Jordan is not among us today. He's got a swollen jaw, so we'll wave to him because he's at home watching us on cable television. I'd like to welcome the Candlestein Associates. They are the architects who drew up the plans. We have representatives here from Pilgrim Construction Company, which is the company that is building our media center. Also like to welcome the faculty members who chose to be with us this afternoon, and most of all, our students who are here to help us celebrate this wonderful day. It's not often in these times of declining enrollment and limited funds that we're able to build a building, and so it's especially exciting. One of the important purposes of education is providing students with a variety of self-enriching ideas and experiences. Our hope is that this new full range of media center, which includes printed and audiovisual forms of communication and accompanying technology, will be more available, more appealing, more exciting, and displayed in a way that will attract many of our students to spend time in the new media center. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for attending to help us celebrate a great day in the history of Cherry Hill High School West. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce a very wonderful young man. He is currently president of our student activities organization, unfortunately graduating, so we're going to miss him very much. Bob is going off to Brown. At this time, I'd like to introduce Robert Atkins, president of SAO.
Thank you, Ms. Katz. The history of mankind has shown us that every improvement ever made has come too late to benefit at least one individual. Consider if Adam could have consulted with the green grocer before eating that bad apple. Or if the ancient Chinese had been able to use barbed wire, they could have saved a lot of bricks. Or if Napoleon could have worn elevator shoes. Yes, the list goes on. And another will be added this year. Who knows how much easier my 4 years could have been here if I had this library. But it's 4 term papers, 6 research papers, and about a dozen oral reports too late. But let us not dwell on this. But let's be thankful that the classes that follow me will be able to share in the addition of this library. So on behalf of Cherry Hill High School West, and the classes that follow me, I thank you for the improvement of our library and sure you'll be much appreciated. Thank you.
The groundbreaking for the new Library Media Center is a happy occasion for West's community. I would like to thank the members of the Board of Education and the administration for making this day a reality. The Media Center is an expression of your faith and pride in the students and staff of West High School. The new library will seat over 95 students and teachers. It will accommodate individual learning styles with the inclusion of study carrels, seminar rooms, an audio-visual non-print reading center, a curriculum preparation room, and a TV studio and library classroom. It is our hope that the new library will literally become the center of intellectual activity for High School West. The foundation of this hope is based on the Board of Education and the administration's vision, support, and faith in us as a school. As we see the new facility rise, so will our hopes for West High School. Again, we thank you. Now, without further ado, let's break ground. I'd like to ask Mayor Greenwald, Mr. McKeon, Superintendent of Schools, and Mrs. Richterman, President of the Board of Education, to step forward, please.
Chairperson of the Media Services Department here at Cherry Hill West, is gathering the mayor of Cherry Hill, Mrs. Maria Barnaby Greenwald, Mrs. Katz, principal of Cherry Hill West, Mrs. Barbara Richterman, the president of the Board of Education, Bob Atkins, the president of the Student Activities Organization, and John McKeon, the superintendent of schools, at the shovel. As there that goes, they are breaking ground right now for our media center. This is Mrs. Richterman, President of the Board of Education. Also joining him there at the groundbreaking was Wesley the Lion, West's mascot. Now let's go back to the podium and Mrs. Katz.
At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce the mayor of Cherry Hill, Mayor Maria Barnaby Greenwald.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my privilege to be here in what is another milestone to add to the distinction of our wonderful Cherry Hill school system. And to all the school board members and the wonderful parents that have been involved in our administration, a great thank you. And also, I think all of us that are here must recognize the intelligence of the people of Cherry Hill in voting for this to make it possible. And we must thank all of them. And to all our young people, we hope that this library will give you wonderful moments of wonderful intellectual activity, but also of memories. Because to all of us who have been through school and college, a library often afforded us some very nice memories. Meeting places, quiet times, sometimes just a place to get away. And it is all there for you. And as you leave this building and go on, we know that it will add to the wonder of your life and that you in turn will add to the pride that we share in each and every one of you. Enjoy many happy days.
Maria Barnaby Greenwald, the mayor of Cherry Hill. Now, Bob Atkins, president of the Student Activities Organizations, takes the stand again.
We'll be sinking a time capsule into the ground near the library. And each class selected a memento they want to sink to the ground. Now they're going to present it. For the class of 1986, Scott Murray.
Scott Murray, the governor of the senior class here at Cherry Hill West, to present his memento for the time capsule.
Well, because upon graduation this year, it'll be the end for our stay here at Cherry Hill West and the beginning of the rest of our lives. The class of 86 decided to put in something which symbolized our beginnings here at West and our ending. So for our beginning, we decided to put in a Cherry Hill West painter's cap, which we still have about 175 of left. If anyone would like to buy one of these, tried to sell them freshman year, you can buy a painter's cap. And we also decided to put in one of our invitations to this year's senior prom because we thought this would be one of the ending things which we're going to go through this year.
That was Scott Murray placing his mementos into the box.
You'll get one.
For the class of 1987, Wendy English.
This is Wendy English, who will be coming up to the podium, who is the class governor of the class of 1987.
The class of 87 decided to put in their special edition of our junior newsletter, the Junior Jargon. This includes many articles that represent the students of our class, such as our sports and our plays. It also reflects upon our first 3 years here at Cherry Hill West. And for any of you guests who would like a copy of our special edition, there's some in the old library after the ceremony.
Wendy English placing a copy of the Junior Jargon into the memento box.
For the class of 1988, Joanna Lifshey.
This is Joanna Lifshey, governor of the class of 1988.
The class of 88 would like to put into the time capsule another one of our newsletters from this year, and it's called the Sophomore Scoop. And we picked this edition because this is the one which resembles how much our class worked together this year, because this is a Spirit Week edition, and this is when we won Spirit Week this year.
Each class putting something that represents their class's activities and contributions to Cherry Hill West into this time capsule box. Now we're missing just the
And last but
representative
not least, the
from
class of
the freshman
1989,
class.
Drew Hannes.
We have selected two things: our newsletter, the paw print, and a tape of all the music heard at the dance. Not all the music, some of the good hits that we've heard in the dances. And if we wouldn't have had this, these songs would have been forgotten.
You have some things? Okay. Ms. Raymond with a few things she has to put in.
I have two things to put into the cornerstone for the library. One of them is the program from today with all the participants' names and the present board members. It is laminated and it will go in the time capsule. And I have a scroll which most of the students and teachers of West signed during the last 2 weeks. This will be laminated and folded, of course, and rolled up and saved for posterity. Thank you.
Ms. Raymond, our librarian here at Cherry Hill West, making her contribution
now
to
here's
the
Ms.
cornerstone.
Katz.
And now Mrs. Katz, principal of our school, once again take the podium.
At this time, before we let our final balloons go up into the air commemorating today, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Barbara Richterman, who is the new president of the Cherry Hill Board of Education. Mrs. Richterman?
I have always thought that the most exciting time to be on a Board of Education would be at a time when the community is growing and expanding and that we would be building new buildings. But I don't think that I could be any more excited than I am right now with the expansion and the rebuilding of the West Library. Declining enrollment is what has made it possible for us to expand the educational opportunities for our students here at West High School. I can't think of any better use for the funds that are derived from the sale of closed schools than to put it back into school buildings again to improve the educational environment for our students and for our staff. The board is very pleased and very excited that this project has finally begun. It's been a long time in coming, and we anxiously anticipate the completion of this project, and we're anxious to see it filled with students and staff utilizing it to its fullest. Whenever I think of the West Library, some people come to my mind. Some people who had this dream for a very long time. And one of those people is Dr. Stephen Barbell. It's through his persistence and under his leadership that this project has come about. And I think that it would be very appropriate now to have Dr. Barbell say a few words.
Thank you, Bobby. I guess it really has to be a special feeling to be able to see the culmination of a dream come true. I walked in today, and the first face I saw when I walked in today was a smiling face of Denise. And I can remember Denise 7, 8 years ago, when I had the good fortune to be president of the Home and School Association at that time, and we had a conversation, and the media center was the center of that. And it's hard to believe that it's been that long in coming to reality. An awful lot of people have done an awful lot of hard work to get us to this point. And in spite of a lot of obstacles, in spite of delay, it really gives me a sense of pride of being directly involved, to see smiling faces like Denise's and Mrs. Katz. The reality that we were able to do this and do it with a continuation of funds that this township and the citizens of this township originally approved for educational purposes. And when there was no longer a need for one building, to have those funds used to further the education of the same students has to be the ultimate of planning and accomplishment. The fact that it was approved, and because of a quirk of the law that we had to go to the voters, the most satisfying thing to me was the fact that it wasn't approved just by the voters who live in the West Sending District. It was approved in every voting district throughout the whole township. So this indeed is a library not only for Cherry Hill West, but for all of Cherry Hill. In closing, I just want to thank all of you, Mrs. Katz and everybody, for permitting me to be present for the realization of a dream. Thank you.
Mr. Stephen Barbell, past president of the Board of Education.
Before we conclude, may I invite all of you to join us for a reception in our library. Our students, under the direction of Mary Sue Trotman, their teacher, have made some lovely goodies, and we have some punch and the pictures of our library as it will look when it's completed. So please join us afterwards. Thank you all very much.
And now the release of the balloons, designating the end of this ceremony for the groundbreaking of the new library and media center. Now, if we can go inside to a shot of the library, which is the present library, which is probably pretty much very empty right now, you will see where there is a design in there of an artist rendering of the present library, a picture of an artist drawing, excuse me, of the library and media center, which is going to be built for next year. Now, if we could have a word with the mayor of Cherry Hill, Mrs. Maria Barnaby Greenwald, who is the mayor. Ms. Greenwald, could you tell us, do you think that people come to Cherry Hill because of the image of the Cherry Hill schools?
Oh yes, I think it has a tremendous impact on the image of our community and on the reason why people move here. Cherry Hill is by and large a community of families. And families, when they look for a home, one of the very first questions they ask is, what kind of school system do you have? So yes, indeed, it does.
And do you feel that this library will be an added part to Cherry Hill West and will make it an even better school than it has been already?
Oh, absolutely. A library just helps fill a need. Certainly the students here have done an excellent job. Many of them go on to outstanding colleges. And even if it does not improve the status of the school, it's just going to make life that much better for the students and provide them with the need that they will find right within their own school building, not being out so much at night, not having to go searching. I think it will be wonderful for the students.
Could you tell us a little bit about how this was a hard project and it took a long time to bring to reality, which it is indeed now as they're building it as we speak on the other side of this wall here. Why is it that it took such a long time?
Well, really, that would be a matter more under the purview of the school board than it would be under the purview of local government. But if I would venture an opinion, I would say that during the time when Cherry Hill was growing so rapidly, all the money that was necessary was put into schools to educate the children. And then, when that was completed, we started selling schools because the declining enrollment, that took a long time to sell the schools. And as Mrs. Katz and as Mrs. Richterman and Dr. Barbell have said, how wonderful to take the sale of one school and use that money for our students. But the most important thing here is that the citizens of this community voted to spend this money in this way. It shows their high level of concern for our children, for education. All one need do is look at the newspapers and the communities around us that are defeating school budgets all the time. And that's what makes Cherry Hill a very special place, the concern of our parents for education.
Okay, thank you very much. For those of you just joining us, we're here, I'm Noam Yalon here with Beth Goldman at the Cherry Hill West, where we have just broken ground just here in front of us for the new Library and Media Center, which is going to be put up for the next school year. Now let's go inside to the present library inside the school, where all the dignitaries who were involved in this groundbreaking ceremony are now taking part in refreshments. And if you stay tuned, we'll be in there momentarily to get some interviews with some more people who are involved in this ceremony. Go get the first one and then come to me.
I was going to do it.
That's a little bit tacky.
Welcome back. We're now in the library, the present library here at Cherry Hill High School West, where the people here are involved in who have just completed taking place in a groundbreaking ceremonies. If we can look over this way, we can see all the people who are involved. We have a lot of teachers came to be involved in today's ceremonies, where we got a speech from Bob Atkins, the president of the Student Activities Organization, and he told us about how there are many great things in life which are built too late for one person or another to use them. Bob, let's see if we can get a word with Bob Atkins. All right, he'll be back with us later. And then we had a speech also from Ms. Denise Raymond, who is the president of Media Services here, who was telling us about how hard it was to put a project like this together, how it went through the planning stages and then the voters had to vote on it. And Beth Goldman, my co-anchor for this afternoon's activities, is getting us an interview at this time. Because our dignitaries are now involved in having pictures taken by the print media, we will now go to a pre-recorded videotape about the building of the original Cherry Hill High School West building, and we'll have interviews with the people involved in today's groundbreaking ceremonies when we get back. This is Cable 18, the Cherry Hill Public Schools television station.
A high school has to have a band. Instructional music classes were held in the basement of D Wing. Boys and girls were learning to play the instruments that would several years later proclaim loyalty at pep meetings and victories on the football field. Meanwhile, the rest of the school began to take some kind of shape. The brickwork was going up well, and that was encouraging. An inspection team takes a look around at the half-constructed gymnasium. These are members of the first graduating class. They were freshmen then, but they would soon become seniors and be members of the class of 1960. Our first nurse made sure the boys and girls acquired good health habits and took care of all emergencies. A typical experiment in a chemistry class. Mrs. Elder, our first chemistry teacher in charge. The first lion's roar is being assembled. And of course, the first proceeds from this newspaper are counted very carefully. The first majorettes rehearsed for that first far-distant football game to become a reality in about 3 years hence. The first art department, under the capable direction of Mrs. Alida Hanson, had no difficulty in fitting into the life of the school, even though D6 was all the space allowed for this activity. Delaware Township High School was probably the first school in South Jersey to have the luxury of telephones in each room. Sometimes this prompted students to sneak a call on their own. And sometimes they were caught by the teacher. Meanwhile, the building went on through the winter months. The hammers hammered, the bulldozers bulled, the cranes carried cargo, and the band played on in the basement.
Okay, that's better. I'm Beth Goldman, and I'm standing here live with the Superintendent of Schools, Mr. John McKeon. What exactly was your involvement in the planning of this project?
Well, I've been involved with it since its inception 4 or 5 years ago, and we've been working really towards this end since that time. So obviously we're very pleased here today that this has come to fruition.
All right, and are you proud of this project, which will be one of your last projects during, I guess this is your last year,
Yes,
isn't it?
that's true. Obviously extremely proud. Cherry Hill West as a physical plant has served the community extremely well for as you know, many, many years. But there comes a time when you need to make adjustments, and we've been looking forward to this, as I said, for some time. And we're particularly pleased with the public support for this, and I think we owe that to the High School West students and particularly the teaching staff for the marvelous effort that they've made over the years, and that's where our support comes from. So in the long run, we really thank the teachers for their contribution to this.
And what exactly are the changes that you've noticed in the New Jersey schools during your tenure as Superintendent of Schools?
Well, there have been many changes, particularly in Cherry Hill. When I came here, we were a growing district, and we increased, probably 8,000 or 9,000 students in enrollment from the time I arrived, and then we turned around and decreased another 8,000 students. So we've gone through quite a period of adjustment, going up and coming down, so to speak. But I think the program has continued to improve throughout that time, and I think we really have to thank the community for their support.
Right, so you do feel that the Cherry Hill school system has improved?
Oh, without question, and I think that has come definitely from the support we've received from the community and from the wonderful students that they've sent us.
And how do you feel Mayor Maria Greenwald helped this come about?
Well, Mayor Greenwald has continually been totally supportive for our schools over a period of years, and it's that very fine working relationship that we've maintained with the township government, I think, that's made things like this possible.
Okay, and what was your overall opinion of the groundbreaking ceremony which we've just left?
I think it was wonderful, and I'm so glad that the students participated actively in it. I think that's the most important thing.
All right, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
And I'm Beth Goldman, and I was just interviewing Superintendent of Schools, John McKeon.
And our next interview is with Bob Atkins, the president of the Student Activities Organization. Bob Atkins now joining us for a couple words from the Student Activities Organization. And his, all right, Bob, in your speech earlier this afternoon, you talked about how this project is a little bit late for you to get involved with it. What do you think about this new library will be beneficial to the new students coming here, and why are you sad that you're missing it?
Well, I'm sad because I know my grades could have been a lot better, I think, if I had this library like they're going to have it.
Can't read.
I mean, it's going to make it a lot easier for them. I had it rough, I'm telling you.
How about that?
Do you feel that this library will enhance everyone else's opportunity to learn a lot better?
Oh, yeah, it's going to make it a lot easier for them. You know what I'm saying?
I think they ought to raise the curriculum of the classes now that they have this.
I know, with this, I mean, they could raise it sky high. These kids are going to be prepared.
All right, this was Bob Atkins and John Bustard, President and Vice President of the Student Activities Organization. Now over here to my left is Miss Raymond, the head of media services here at Cherry Hill High School West and also one of the head librarians here. Ms. Raymond, could you tell us a little bit about how hard it was and how long it took to bring this project into being?
Well, it took us several years. We visited many other facilities, other school libraries, to see what we wanted. We wanted to have the best of what was available. And we talked to a lot of different people to find out what were the best points of their libraries. And we tried to have all those best points incorporated into our facility, and I think that we're doing it.
All right, could you tell us how many people will the new library seat?
It should seat over 95 students and teachers in all the different areas. We're going to have a lot of different areas. We're going to have a classroom, a library classroom, and TV studio. We're going to have a faculty library located here, a non-print area here, listening viewing center, located in the rear of this section.
And all of these things you've just pointed out, we don't have it at this point in time?
No, these are all new features to the new facility. And then in the new annex, we're going to have two seminar rooms. We're going to have a great big leisure reading area, and we're going to have a great big stack area. So we should be able to seat many, many students and teachers.
Have you found over the last couple of years here at West that there hasn't been enough room, or that there have been times when the library was just too crowded and you needed more room for the people? And tell us a little bit about the books that we have now and how that'll be increasing over the next few years.
We have, right now we have about 18,000 volumes, and we hope to increase to 28,000 over the next few years. And the reason for that is because we do have so many teachers who wish to bring their classes to the library, and right now we can't accommodate all the classes that want to use the library, and there's a lot of activity that's constantly going on. So the new library should be able to accommodate this activity.
When will the project be totally complete?
Well, we're shooting for September. It's supposed to be done in September.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This has been Noam Yalon with the President of Media Services, Miss Denise Raven. All right, thank you for joining us here this afternoon at the Cherry Hill West Library for the groundbreaking ceremonies for the new Library and Media Center, which is being built next year. I'm Noam Yalon, who've been here with Beth Goldman, and now let's go to complete the viewing of the tape, which was a tape which was videotaped when they were building the original Cherry Hill West, and you'll see the construction that was going on then.
In lieu of symbols, Mr. William D. Burley was the first band director. Sometimes, in the first winter of '56, it was so cold, music classes in the basement had to be called off, even though some of the instrumentalists wore their overcoats. The growth of the band was just typical of every phase of the new school. Growth, growing to maturity, until the 7th and 8th and 9th grades became sophomores, juniors, and seniors. A full-fledged high school, suddenly born. Girls softball team playing and winning their first scheduled game with Haddon Heights High School at Haddon Heights. More members of the class of 1960. The first ham radio club, Donald Lawrence, president. In the spring of that first year of the high school, the high school really began to look like a high school. And Old Glory began to feel more at home, more than ever before. The students knew that come another September and another school year, their new school would be completed. With the weather turning warm again, the girls' gym classes moved outside. After day, the dusty yellow buses lined up to take the students home. By late spring, Delaware Township High School became the first new modern high school to be built in this area of South Jersey. Boys had to go to the RCA field down the road for their gym classes. It took 15 minutes to get there. And then 15 minutes to play baseball. Then, of course, it took 15 minutes to return to school. And here is Janet Peters of the class of 1960.
High upon Old Chapel Hill stands the school I call my own. How I love to see her flags unfurl wherever I may roam. Royal purple's majesty and white crusaders thrill. So pledge your love and loyalty to the school on Chapel Hill.
Well, as I said before, Old Glory was always there and always will be.